Take a momentary pause.
Technical issue repair. Thank you for your patience. If you all weren't here, it would be working fine. It's just the nature of things. I don't know how that works.
All in favor of the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry for the interruption. I believe we may need to pause one more time. It looks like we have some inconsistencies coming through. I need. We're back. Sorry. Mr. Chairman, we may resume again.
All right, so now we're to proclamations. We have Proclamation 2025-01, a proclamation of appreciation to the Oconee County personnel who volunteered their services to Dorchester County. Whereas on Wednesday, January 22nd, Oconee County received a request for assistance from Dorchester County due to 4 inches of snowfall and a declared state of emergency. And whereas 4 employees from emergency services and 4 employees from roads and bridges answered the call to assist despite working all day and some working the night before the event. And whereas Steve Bryant, Jason Rowland, Richard Sloan, Josh Neesmith, Clint Livingston, David Greenwald, Cody Smith, and Andy McGuffin spent 2 days helping to make safe the roads in Dorchester County for its citizens. And whereas, utilizing their expertise, county personnel completed all necessary work before receiving heartfelt appreciation from Dorchester County and returning home on January 24th. And whereas the commitment to public service that county personnel demonstrated by leaving the comforts of their homes to assist citizens in the low country of South Carolina cannot be understated. And whereas by assisting Dorchester County during their time of need, the 8 personnel proudly served the people of South Carolina while representing integrity, helpfulness, and quality services that we have come to know and expect here in Oconee County. Now therefore, we, the Oconee County Council, do hereby recognize and express our appreciation to Steve Bryant, Jason Rowland, Richard Sloan, Josh Neesmith, Clint Livingston, David Greenwald, Cody Smith, and Andy McGuffin for their services to the citizens of Dorchester County. I have a motion.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Come on up if you want. I'm so sorry.
this big of a turnout.
Oh. Y'all gotta squeeze in.
Appreciate y'all.
Squeeze it and suck it.
All right, 1, 2, 3, say snowplow.
Y'all take care.
It was fun, Steve. Good.
Okay, now we're gonna enter public comment session. Typically, the public comment session is limited to 5 minutes per person for 50 minutes. We have a lot of people here who would like to speak, so I'd like to make a motion to change the public comment session to 3 minutes per person and a time limit of 90 minutes, hour and a half.
Make a motion.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay, now, so if you've not been here before, when you get to the 2-minute mark, I'm gonna hold up a yellow sign. Okay, and then at the 3-minute mark, I'm gonna hold up a red stop sign. I ask that when you get to the 3-minute mark, because we got a 90-minute time limit, that you please conclude so that we can give other people time to speak. Understand that there's passionate issues, and you may want to clap for whoever spoke on whatever your beliefs is, but I ask that you please refrain from clapping so we can remove orderly through and make sure people out in the hallway can continue to hear as well. Also, I ask that you keep the discussion on topics at hand and county business, also remain respectful as well during that time.
I have a question. Is it possible to ask a question?
No, sir.
Okay.
We'll be here all night.
Oh, just one question.
Miss Jennifer?
Mr. J.R. Slack.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all of the
Definitely ask you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
board members. I appreciate the time that you have allowed me to come and speak.
Speak up.
I don't have a mic. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're on the same page. Thank you for this time that you have allowed me to speak, and my time is short. This is in reference to the programs that have been implemented in this county and across the nation concerning diversity, equity, and inclusion. For the people, and the question at hand is whether the county should continue to fund these programs in any department, in any function of Oconee County. The bottom line, you have to understand what the history of this program is all about. It is birthed out of the 1960s civil rights movement, followed by affirmative action, and then around the 1980s, diversity, equity, and inclusion was introduced not only into education, but also into the business models and of course, in government. On its face value, it is not what it says it is. Now, if you want diversity, if you look at me and you just judge me by the melanin in my skin, you go back, I have Cherokee in me, I have Irish American in me. But, you would never know unless I told you. I'm walking diversity. But the issue is simply this. Oh, yeah, walking diversity. In my house, and the time is clicking, I'm an Ohio State fan. My son is a Michigan fan. My wife is a Clemson fan. My daughter is a South Carolina Gamecocks fan, and my youngest daughter is a Georgia fan. If that isn't diversity and inclusion, I don't know what is, but there is not much equity. The issue is this. Every individual strives for equal opportunity. But with this program, when you come to social engineering, you cannot always have equal outcome because we may be all created equal, but the truth of it is we are not equal. All people need is an equal opportunity. The outcomes are to be determined. You cannot fund something that gives preference to someone based not on their ability, but merely on their identity. You can't do it. It's not fair to the individuals that are qualified. You need qualified people, especially in law enforcement. You have to have, when someone is rushing into the fire or when someone is answering a 911 call, the only thing that matters to me if they answer my call is are they qualified and capable. That's really all that matters. What color they are doesn't really matter. So, gentlemen, I thank you for this time. You cannot fund District DEI in Oconee County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Council members, thank you. Before I'd like to start, para la Hispanic population, muchas gracias. Para mi tiempo, esta noche. All right. I want to talk about DUI, but real closely, how close he come to me. My son or stepson is a pilot, flies for Breeze. That plane that crashed in the Potomac was his route, his old plane, the same tail number he flew. Why? Because the tower is understaffed from Joe Biden being preferential treatment for people that are not qualified. I don't give a darn whether they're the Martians or what. They weren't qualified. Helicopter T-boned the aircraft. He knew both the pilot and co-pilot of that plane that crashed into it. This is a serious matter. Just like the gentleman said before me, qualifications, not diversity. Now, I want to move real fast to immigration. This concerns Mr. Durham. He has been slandered.
Oh, sorry.
Get to the problem. He's been slandered on the internet, saying that he wanted to build a wall around Oconee County and, quote, kick out all the Mexicans. And that is not what he said. That is a fabricated lie. What I'm upset about, these local people here, Hispanic population, they came here, they work, and everybody's talking, oh, they got to run them out, run them out. Let's talk about Mr. Perez, the rooster, owns 2 shopping centers, restaurants all over in North Carolina. He came here, I've known him for 35 years. These people here, a lot of them are illegal. They pay taxes, yes, federal taxes with a federal tax number. So, but where the problem is, we got the gangs, the thugs coming in that Biden and Harris let across the border, doing all the crimes, and everybody else gets blamed for it. And it's just wrong. And these are the ones, they got green cards automatically. They got a cell phone. They got health insurance. Biden was taking my VA benefits for their health insurance and giving it to them. They're the ones, they're the problem. They're the ones that need to be blamed. And once again, anybody that thinks Mr. Durham said that on the internet, they're badly misinformed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I gotta get my timer reset, I'm sorry.
No applause.
Yeah. Okay.
Good evening, council members. My name is Dexter Robinson, and I'm here representing the Oconee County Branch NAACP, offering public comments on ordinance number 2025-05. the Oconee Branch NAACP agrees that the process for hiring personnel and promoting personnel should result in the selection of the most qualified candidates based on personal qualification and merit. However, we do not support this ordinance for the following reasons. The document as it's currently written does not correctly represent the definition or the purpose of diversity, equity, and inclusion. DE&I does not support selections based on quotas related to the purpose of relating to the race, color, ethnicity, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, or gender identity. The sole purpose of DE&I is to ensure equity, that all individuals have the same access to be included in the selection process. The second reason is in Section 1 of this document, Item 1C, it states that no funding will be allowed for programs or processes that encourages or requires political or social activities related to race, gender, or similar characteristics as a condition of employment or contracting. This statement is in itself contradictory. The very existence of this ordinance is rooted in a political ideology rather than fact-based need to improve county hiring or contracting practices. And I'm going to skip down because I know you decreased the time. I would also like us to consider this matter through a moral and ethical lens, reflecting on the teachings of Christ, specifically James 2, 1 through 4. We recognize the core values of love, equality, justice, fairness, and compassion for the marginalized. We feel that even though each council member represents a particular district in Oconee County, your input and vote affect every citizen of Oconee County. Therefore, we ask that you keep this in mind as you consider the outcome of this ordinance. For these reasons, we strongly oppose Ordinance 2025-05 and ask that you reject it in favor of policies that truly support fairness, opportunity, and inclusion for all. I want to thank you for the opportunity to provide comments, and let us all continue to work together to keep Oconee County in its position as the best and most beautiful county in this great state of South Carolina. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. County Council, staff, members of the public. For the record, my name is Dave Nix, and I'm speaking both as an individual voter in this county and on behalf of the Oconee County Conservatives, of which I'm a member of the board. County Council and Chairman and members, thank you for letting me exercise my freedom of speech tonight. Here are some facts that I would like to point out. In the 2024 general election, approximately 75% of the people who cast votes in this county voted for Donald Trump and his policies. Additionally, all of you on the county council who were newly elected or re-elected this cycle were decisively elected as strong Trump-supporting conservatives over the Republican/Democrat moderates in the June primary, and were then overwhelmingly elected over the token liberal or the token write-ins candidates in the November general election. Now, you will probably hear the other 25% loudly voicing their opinion tonight on why you should vote against the removal of DEI from our county policies, county employment. But remember that the other silent majority, 75%, voted you into office and therefore support your efforts to align county policies with Trump's federal policies targeting removal of DEI from governmental programs. So just remember, be resolute. We, the larger portion of the electorate, have your backs on this. Thank you on behalf of the majority of the county's voters who elected you.
Ms. Camille Moore.
Good evening. My name is Camille Moore, and I was born and raised in South Carolina. I love Oconee County, and I'm proud to be a resident here. I look around, and Oconee County is very different from when I was growing up, and that is a good thing. We have neighbors and business owners and friends from many different places around the world, and we're better for it. Just like my shirt says, juntos. It means together, and I believe we're better together no matter where we're from. The word immigrant has gotten some bad press lately. I too am an immigrant. Just because my ancestry can be traced all the way back to the Mayflower, my ancestors stepping off that boat were immigrants just like our immigrant friends and neighbors that we are talking about here in Oconee County. My ancestors were scared, they were hungry, they were poor, they were fed up with the way things were back home. They wanted more for their children and for themselves. They were willing to work hard to accomplishment, and they were unwelcomed. Oconee County, looking around, who of us can honestly say that we are not an immigrant? Your family may have immigrated long ago, as did mine, but we are immigrants all the same, just like those who have come in more recent years. I'm going to be honest with you right now. I've had a few run-ins with Oconee County law enforcement. By run-ins, I mean that when I needed help, they came running. They are men and women who take their jobs and their calling very seriously, and they face horrible situations daily. Adding the responsibilities of ICE and deputization under 287G for our local law enforcement to fulfill the duties of ICE would be an added burden to an already long list of responsibilities. Putting an officer in a situation where more is expected from them than their training has allowed would be unfair to all involved and would only yield bad results. I don't want my friends and neighbors, the law enforcement officers of Oconee County, to bear that responsibility on top of what they already do each and every day for all of us here tonight. As friends and neighbors living in Oconee County, we are all better, juntos, together. We live in the same place. We work in the same jobs. Our children attend the same schools. We are family, juntos.
Michael Mull. I may be pronouncing it wrong.
He's coming forward.
Good evening, board members, council members, and neighbors. My name is Michael Mullet. I live here in Oconee County. I'd like to share some thoughts on immigration. Here are a few things I learned about the immigration issue recently. To legally enter the United States, quote unquote, a person needs to get a green card. The success rate of getting a green card once you applied is 3%, which means 97 out of every 100 immigrants seeking a better life are turned down. If you are a lucky one of the 3%, the wait time to receive your green card can be over 20 years. And if you're really trying to seek a better life for your family, to escape violence, what choice do these immigrants have other than to be undocumented? This undocumentation is claimed to be a criminal offense. But I've learned that that's about the same weighting as a traffic violation. So the proposal, from what I understand, is that the government wants to take these people and ship them back to another country. Some of these people who have lived a large part of their life here, they have family here. I find that very unfair to them. I find that very unjust. I would like to remind us of the creed on the Statue of Liberty. It says, "Bring me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free." Or the Declaration of Independence that states, "All men are created equal, endowed with certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Or even the words of a good book that says that we are to welcome the stranger. Concerning DEI, it's my opinion that the governing body should represent the people they serve. I know there's an argument about merit, but my understanding of DEI is merit plus representation or equity. It's not necessarily turning down someone who's less qualified or accepting someone less qualified. Thank you.
Padilla?
Please refrain from clapping. It adds moments we have to wait to call out a name. Just, I know it's hard, but just.
This Mexican city, as many of you like to call it, only holds a population of 7.4% Hispanics from data from the United States Census Bureau in 2023.
Speak up, please.
Children returning from school to an empty house due to the deportation of their parents is not an agenda Cooney County should follow. The child you plan to send to an abuse facility is your child's best friend in the classroom. The father you despise because of his status is the same one working on your farms to feed your family. The mother you are tearing to pieces for risking her life to provide a better life for her child is the same woman serving you your ACP at your local Mexican restaurant. Families and children are starving in their homes due to the fear of going to pick up groceries. Why are you using your privilege to discard families instead of uplifting those in need? The Hispanic community coming to the United States come with a dream to fulfill and not a mission to overtake. 90% of our community members are citizens. Instead of projecting internal problems on other people's lives, let us take this time to do some self-reflection and improvement. Oconee County local authorities should not be used to fulfill the duties of ICE. Our authorities protect and serve the community, not divide us. This demographic of people is steadily attacked, even more so when people have the opportunity to take advantage. With this decision, you are making an already targeted group of people even more vulnerable. Lives are at stake, children's lives are at stake. Why are you pushing for the disposal of these lives? Crime will rise against this demographic of people as a result of knowing they will not call for help. Parents who do anything to protect their children are praised, yet when a brown mother does the same, she is belittled. Families are fleeing from situations I do not wish upon any of you. There were 4,500 reported cases of child sexual abuse based from the Department of Health and Human Services in detention facilities. Why is it always save our girls when it comes to the topic of pronouns, but not when it comes to our Hispanic or undocumented children? Why is it that the Hispanic little girl getting sexually abused is not alarming to any of you? Why are we pushing for babies and toddlers to represent themselves at court hearings?
Your applause take away from time from other people. We only have 90 minutes.
Good evening, everyone, and blessings to you all. My name is Reverend Ramfis Moulier, and I serve as a pastor at Foothills Church in Seneca. Specifically, I pastor the Hispanic ministry at that church. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm not a native from the South, but Spanish is actually my first language. I am a Hispanic white man, and I've spent over 30 years pastoring churches across the U.S., many of which have been Hispanic congregations. I'm here today to share my concerns about the potential implementation of Section 287G. a program that would turn our county sheriffs into federal immigration agents, tasked to addressing illegal immigration. While this program is commonly presented as targeting criminals and felons, we must consider the broader impact, especially on our communities and law enforcement. To the county officials, I must ask, have you fully considered the financial burden this program places on local agencies? A study from the University of North Carolina found that Mecklenburg County spent $5.3 million in its first year alone. Other counties like Prince County in Virginia face costs upwards of $26 million over the first 5 years. I know the program establishes for federal reimbursement, but it is important to note Charleston County here in South Carolina reported $4 million in yearly costs, with only half of that being reimbursed by the federal government. So I have to ask you, are we prepared for that kind of expense here in Oconee County? Additionally, this program doesn't impact just budgets. It also asks our local officers to enforce policies that can be unconstitutional. The 287G program asks law enforcement officers to, and I quote, detain people that are suspected of being here illegally. Let that sink in. Officers will be asked to detain individuals suspected of being here illegally. Can anyone here tell me what that really means? I started by telling you that I'm a Hispanic man. I was not only born in a Spanish-speaking country, but so were my parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents. So please do not let my whiteness fool you. I am a Hispanic man. But would the police suspect that I am here illegally? Would the officers detain someone that looks like me? Would the officers ask anyone that looked like me to prove their citizenship? I think we all know the answer. Please believe me when I say that I don't believe our officers are looking to discriminate against the Hispanic community. I know many of them personally, and I truly trust their hearts. But the reality is that this policy would force them into uncomfortable and dangerous situations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing, you're good?
I'm just gonna say that, sir.
Oh, I'm good. Thank you so much for giving me the pleasure to speak tonight. It's a really honor. I'd like to start this conversation saying, Happy Black History Month. The evening of January 31st, I noticed disturbing comments coming from the Oconee County Council regarding DEI and immigration. I am honored and I am proud to be the image of what immigration creates in this country. I have family whose origins are from Guyana, South America, and Kingston, Jamaica. Those individuals worked so hard to create the American dream, not only for themselves, but for my family. And I am honored that they did so. Honestly, let us reflect. This comment's been brought up before. Most of us, if not all in this room, can trace immigrant lineage in our family bloodline. So I encourage you to have empathy and care in your heart and not division and hate when it comes to your fellow neighbor, just because they come from a different background than you. And secondly, let the record show that the DEI policy supports women, Hispanics, African Americans, individuals with disabilities, veterans, and much more. Out of all these groups listed, who benefits the most? And I don't have a problem with this group, but I'm just going to state the facts. It's white women in America that benefit the most off of DEI policies. This political propaganda brought to you today has been backed up by evidence with no factual backing, no research, and it's only to create division and disrupt the splendid work cities such as Seneca, Walhalla, and Westminster, which a lot of you come from, have done to make this a better community. Even our sheriff office, which is led by the great and honorable man Mike Crenshaw, employed an individual to help combat diversity in 2020 and other social issues going on in our county. Unlike our current council seated here, whose main goal is to move backwards and not forwards. So I challenge this current council, next time an issue is brought forth to our community, that proper research is done in regards to the topic at hand, and quite frankly, if the topic at hand was related to domestic violence, child endangerment, or even DUI expungements from the 90s, then a sole person on this council would have the grounds to speak for it because he knows it. And so I want to finish out with this. God bless this country, and God bless the best county in South Carolina, Oconee County. And if you want change, honestly, I was going to run for city council, but I'm sick of this mess. I will be running for county council of this great place. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
I'm Mary Parker. I've lived in Oconee County since 1977. I wanted to speak today about what I understand to be the possible decision of Oconee County to sign a memorandum of agreement with ICE based on the Section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act. As far as I know, and I'm probably incorrect in this, but only 3 other counties in South Carolina have done this. According to my research, Horry County, Lexington County, and York County, although I heard someone speak about Charleston County. These 3 counties have large urban populations, Myrtle Beach, Columbia, and outlying of Charlotte. They are unlike Oconee County. I would hate for our local law enforcement to agree to work with ICE for several reasons. Number one, because of the deterioration and the erosion of the Hispanic community's trust, leading to such things as not helping with police investigations and not reporting crimes of violence against themselves, such as rape, child abuse, domestic abuse, theft, and drug activity, for fear of immigration, related reprisals, and repercussions. Number two, immigration is primarily a federal government responsibility. Local law enforcement will not be as well trained, as knowledgeable, and as consistent in appropriately applying the law across all jurisdictions. Because of this, local law enforcement may be less educated on the issues, more biased, act on prejudices and other factors considered to be racial profiling, thus to be open to errors and abuses of power, which could lead to litigation and lawsuits related to civil rights violations, which our county government would have to bear the financial burden. Number three, our immigrant neighborhoods, just like our Caucasian neighborhoods and our African American neighborhoods and communities, are composed primarily of law-abiding, hardworking, humble, law-abiding citizens that contribute to the beautiful and, yes, multicultural Oconee County, which is a good thing. They deserve to be protected by the local police. By participating in ICE's 287G, the local police will no longer be viewed by our citizens as protecting them from drug and violence, but instead be sending a threat to any person who does not look, talk, or act as they do. We need to remember that South Carolina is one of the fastest growing states in the United States because of its beauty, because of its mild climate, because it's less prone to natural disasters. And as new people come, we must be welcoming and accommodating. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Linnell Heck. I appreciate your time this evening and all of your efforts to return conservative values to Oconee County. My concern I want to talk about tonight is the illegal immigration initiative. We have had millions of illegal immigrants enter our country without being vetted, without knowing what their backgrounds or even where they're coming from. And with the mass entrance, fentanyl deaths have skyrocketed. My family has been devastatingly and personally impacted by the fentanyl crisis. And I also have several friends whose families have been affected by the fentanyl crisis as well. Crime has skyrocketed. Sex trafficking is rampant. We have over 300,000 children, and those are just the documented ones that are missing. We have over 300,000 children completely unaccounted for, and this is unacceptable. And to think that it does not impact us on a local level is ludicrous and naive, to say the least. The priority of the worst first, I do hope that is taken into consideration. However, if there are so-called collateral arrests due to them associating with known gang members, repeated felons, sex traffickers, rapists, and any other hardcore criminals, then they're likely to be a risk to our communities anyway. We have a very valuable Hispanic population in Oconee County and our country as a whole, and they should not be confused with this population, and I do acknowledge that. But how is it fair that many went through the proper channels to become citizens, but we are rewarding people for breaking our laws by giving them money, health care, education, phones, living arrangements, when people in our own county are struggling to pay their utilities, mainly Blue Ridge, to pay their utilities and to put food on their tables. We heard for the last 4 years that nobody is above the law, but millions have been given a pass to break our laws, and we've had an open door to cross our borders. I am all for legal immigration, but this has put the safety of our country at unnecessary risk with cartels, gangs, terrorists, etc. And again, we may not think that impacts us locally, but it absolutely does. Counties are stretched thin with their resources. Schools are stretched thin. ERs are at capacity. They are stretched thin. We even bullied and terminated service members for declining to take a vaccine that was not required of literally millions of people coming into our country. And it's time to put an end to a double standard that we've been dealing with for far too long. Legal citizens and our veterans in this county, state, and country are being overlooked for valuable resources because of a previous administration, and in my opinion, this has to stop. I'm grateful to you, the council, and I support the efforts for law enforcement to cooperate in enforcing our immigration laws.
Lucretia Morgan.
Good evening, council members. For the record, my name is Lucretia Morgan, and I'm a resident of Oconee County. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am in support of your proposals for the immigration laws and to eliminate the DEI. I'm not going to repeat a lot of things, but David Nix and the lady that just spoke addressed a lot of the things I had in my statement. But what I wanted to say is I have a problem with illegal immigration, not people that come here legally. And then I heard something said about straining our resources by law enforcement, participating with ICE. Actually, our resources are already strained. Our health care, education, and social services are often impacted by unchecked illegal immigration. And the 287G reinforces the rule of law and restores the integrity in our immigration system. I commend this council for prioritizing our citizens and legal residents supporting this program. I support the policies and promote safety, fairness, and accountability. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Durham and members of the council. 20 years ago, I faced racism in my school right here in Oconee County. I had hoped that by now our leaders would work to unify, not divide, but today I stand before you because the discrimination is still being tolerated in the highest level of our local government. My name is Jaime Soto Moreno, and I am a proud member of this community. Immigrants, especially the Hispanic community, help Oconee thrive. We work hard, we contribute to the local economy and support businesses, yet illegal immigration is being treated as our biggest crisis when it's not. Instead of focusing on real problems like education, public utilities, and rising costs, our leaders are using immigration as a political scapegoat. We have urgent needs: clean water, affordable housing, better roads, and support for businesses. These are the real concerns impacting residents every day. Why aren't these the priorities? I was especially troubled by Chairman Durham's recent comments on social media. When someone said, Walhalla Hill already looks like a small Mexican country, Mr. Durham responded, hopefully Trump will help keep us from looking like a Mexican city. If I could build a wall around Oconee and keep it exactly like it is, I would. Words like this don't just offend, they cause harm. Many Hispanics residents now fear simply daily activities, going out to eat, shopping, or even driving. Worried they might be targeted. The fear leads to fewer people spending money locally, which directly hurts businesses and economy. Beyond the discourse, let's talk about real economic consequences. If we remove workers, labor costs rise, housing price goes up, local businesses struggle because they rely on Hispanic workers. And what about the cost of enforcement? Other counties implementing programs like 287G have spent millions, leading to tax increase and budget cuts elsewhere. Oconee taxpayers deserve to know how much will this cost, what services will suffer because of it. Let's also be clear, enforcing laws should be not meant to targeting and scapegoating a group of people for political gain. True leadership is about solutions. Programs like Secure Communities already allow ICE to identify individuals without requiring local police to act as immigration officers. Diverting resources to federal immigration enforcement weakens trust between police and community, making us all less safe. I also want to address diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI is not about exclusion. It's about ensuring that all people, regardless of the background, have equal opportunities to succeed. There's a saying in Spanish, el respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz, which means respect for the rights of others is peace. We don't have to agree on everything, but we must respect one another. Chairman, the members of the council, words matters, leadership matters. And right now, you have a choice. Continue dividing this community or focus on the real issues that affect everyone. Oconee deserves better. We need leadership that unites, not divides. We need policies to make strong, not weakens our local economy. Argue, let's shift. Driven politics to resolution, let's work together to build an economy where everyone, regardless of their background, feels valued and safe.
Can you please state your name when you get up here? I could not hear.
Good evening, Chairman Durham, council members, and meeting attendees. My name is Vicki Allen, and I reside within the city of Seneca, within the diverse community and county of Oconee. It is my understanding that tonight's discussion includes the presentation of an ordinance to prohibit county funds for DEI initiatives. Further to my knowledge and understanding, the Oconee County DEI initiative has sadly never been funded to begin with. In the Oconee County website, under the Human Resources Department tab, HR is charged with oversight of all personnel-related support, development activities, including hiring, retention, training and development, compensation, benefits, and compliance with policies and labor laws. As a reminder, each member of this council took the following oath. I do solemnly swear that I am duly qualified according to the Constitution of this state to exercise the duties of the office to which I have been elected, and that I will, to the best of my ability, discharge the duties thereof and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of this state of the United States, so help me God. And you each signed said oath, which was notarized, submitted to the state. And located at the very bottom of that document is the following statement. Please note that the document you are submitting is a public record, and the information contained therein is subject to public scrutiny or release. The state of South Carolina on its website states that the state entity strives to be an accepting, inclusive community and nurtures an atmosphere that supports inclusion and positive social change. If you Google Oconee County, South Carolina employment, the following statement will be displayed. Oconee County is an equal opportunity employer and does not discriminate against any employee or applicant for employment because of race, color, sex, pregnancy, religion, national origin, ethnicity, and it goes on. Gentlemen, DEI is essential in the workplace because it promotes greater creativity, innovation, employee engagement, retention, and enhances the organization's reputation. To promote DEI in the workplace, organizations should create policies, practices, and programs that foster diversity, provide training and support, and holds leadership accountable for ensuring DEI goals are established, sought, measured, and achieved. This is for the good of this diverse community for which each of you swore to serve. In the spirit of your commitment to this entire community, I sincerely ask that you not pass this first reading. Thank you, and again, my name is Vicki Allen, one of the county constituents you swore to serve.
Chairman Durham and the rest of the council, thanks for this opportunity. I'm Jody Gallin from Seneca, South Carolina. I'm very disappointed that you're prioritizing the ban of DEI in Oconee government and paying county money to detain immigrants a federal responsibility. Surely you're sidestepping critical issues for Oconee government. DEI is the very opposite of a divisive ideology. DEI ensures fairness, encourages collaboration, helps protect individual liberties, and produces more efficient, effective organizational outcomes. Shouldn't qualified veterans, people of all sexes and colors, the disabled, veterans, the aged, and others have equal opportunity for work and for quality government services to be delivered to them? Ironically, Councilman James said that the county council should focus on public safety, infrastructure, and economic development, and I fully agree with you. So if that's so, why are you supporting divisive ordinances like these that do not deal with these issues? What we have here is the politics of distraction, folks, where council is creating controversy to hide lack of action on top priorities. We had a deputy nearly killed by a white sovereign citizen, a member of a right-wing extremist organization that has an active cell in this county. Extremists like this could very well shoot me or you in a Walmart parking lot. You propose to spend tax money to round up and house allegedly undocumented immigrants on the county dime, rather than allowing our well-respected Sheriff's Department to focus on the urgent public safety issues in our county: illegal drugs, domestic violence, theft, child neglect and abuse, murder, assault. I could go on. And this is a very white county, and therefore these are very white problems. Infrastructure work is underway. I agree, and more needs to be done. Traffic issues on Highway 123 and 130 and other bottlenecks. This hurts our quality of life and is a safety issue. The time to anticipate, plan for, and address growth-related infrastructure needs and development standards and ingress and egress standards is before, not after the growth. You're chasing the runner with the ball. Economic development, I agree, is essential. We've got 3.1% unemployment in this county. If we want more industry here, we've got to have workers. There are many other priorities I don't have time to discuss, including emergency preparedness, preparedness for increased extreme weather events, and county recreation and parks, and demolishing that doggone old courthouse that I had to drive by again today. We're living in an age where there's an uproar because Beyonce made a country album and earned a Grammy, where students in Oconee a few years ago shouted, "Build the wall," when playing Walhalla. We've got it, and now our chairman wants us to ban diversity and inclusion and equity. and wants to spend Oconee money to house federal immigrants. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Lee Sheehan. I'm a resident of Oconee County in Seneca. I had many things to speak about, and I've heard them all already, and you already know them, so I've changed my tack just a little bit. All of you on County Council are just like me. You see the same thing that I see in the mornings when you wake up in the mirror is an old white man. Okay, our county council is composed of old white men, and there is no diversity whatsoever in our county council. I realized, and Mr. Nix, as he brought it out, you were all elected as Republicans by the Republican majority of our council, and so you have a mindset of that Republican mentality. I understand that. What I would implore you to do is step out of your old man's white shoes and step into a black man's shoes. Step into a woman's shoes. Step into a Hispanic man's shoes and see this county and what goes on here in their viewpoint, not in just what you see in your mirror, and not as you see as you were elected as a Republican, but look at everybody in their lifestyles, their origins, and their backgrounds. I would implore you to have compassion on other people than those that just look like you. I would implore you to have mercy on those that are less fortunate than you. I would implore you to have mercy on everybody and think this thing through before you vote on either the DEI proposal or the 287G proposal, because neither of those things promotes unity in our community. It does not promote equality. It is all about them versus us. We need to step away from that as a county council and as a county and as a people, as individuals, step away from us versus them and look at the life, look at the world from somebody else's shoes and somebody else's viewpoint. Thank you.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Wanda Sheehan. I'm here to talk about Mr. Duncan's statement on halting DEI funding. He said, "We must focus on policies that unite us, protect individuality, and ensure everyone has equal opportunities to succeed on their own merit." Well, I'm here to tell you, sometimes merit is not enough. I speak from experience. In 1981, I went to a construction site to apply for a job as a pipe welder. Applicants had to pass a cut and bend test as well as an x-ray to be even considered for the job. The hiring manager talked with several men ahead of me at the gate, and he let them in. When it came my turn to apply, instead of scheduling me for a well test, he said, "We've got all the men we need right now." So I left that job site and I filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. A week later, the company called me back. They asked me to come in and run a test. I did the test, I passed the test, I got the job. Had it not been for DEI policies and practices, I wouldn't have gotten that job. I wouldn't even have had the opportunity to apply for that job. Merits don't matter when you're dealing with racism, sexism, and bigotry. Yes. I'm old enough to remember when women were not doctors. We had no women doctors. We had no women lawyers. You didn't see women police officers or engineers or welders in my case. It wasn't that women weren't interested in those positions. It was because women did not have the opportunity. Women aren't the only ones that have benefited from DEI. Sorry. The definition of DEI is organizational frameworks that seek to promote the fair treatment particularly for groups who have historically been subject to discrimination on the basis of race, gender, or disability. Groups which have historically been subject to this type of discrimination are women, people of color, military veterans, autistic children. Do you know who's not on this list, who have not been historically subject to discrimination? White men. Mr. Durham said, public funds should not be used to promote divisive ideologies or political agendas. But yet this is what we're doing. With DEI being targeted all across the country, left and right, to claim this is not political would be an insult to the intelligence of the members of the community. To better understand the situation, I'd like to ask the council to provide the community with written responses to the following questions. What is the council's definition of DEI? What DEI policies, initiatives, activities, or programs does Oconee County have where members of the community, and where can members of the community find this information? What are examples of DEI expense? Would handicap ramp be that? That's about it. Of what departments or positions would be affected? Thank you for your time. I look forward to hearing your response.
Elizabeth O'Connor.
I'm nervous. I've never spoken in front of a group like this before. For the record, my name is Elizabeth O'Connor. I'm a resident of Oconee County, and I want to speak on the DEI issue that's up before us. I'm a former military air traffic controller. I taught school in the Air Traffic Control Academy. I also have a private pilot's license, single engine and fixed wing. And I'm one of the few people you'll ever meet that was certified in 2 different air traffic control towers at the same time, one in the Army and one in the Air Force. And that has to do with Reagan firing the air traffic controllers. After the collision between the Black Hawk helicopter and the jump jet, some disturbing stuff came out as far as the hiring parameters for air traffic controllers. And according to the FAA website, their acceptable problems are hearing problems, severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, vision problems, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. When I first read that list, I thought I was reading an article, a satire from the Babylon Bee. You can't have people like that in all positions. There's a big difference between equal opportunity, which we've had since I was a child, and equity. Equal opportunity means you have the chance to apply. You'll be equally considered. Equity means equal outcome. We cannot afford that. We can't afford it as air traffic controllers. We can't afford it as pilots. We can't afford it as police officers. The guys on the road crews that hold the stop signs, we can't do it with them. The safety of the entire crew depends on their ability to do their job correctly. So I'll draw the line there, and if I can I make a comment on the immigration? My father's parents were immigrants. They had no intention of leaving Ireland, except my grandfather made the mistake of drawing unflattering political cartoons of English royalty and British politicians. They sentenced him to death, and they were hunting him, so they had to leave the country. In spite of him having a death warrant hanging over his head, he made sure that he came to America legally, if for no other reason he couldn't afford to be sent back to Ireland and be hanged. If you come to this nation legally, you're welcome. If you come here illegally, you run the risk of being sent back. And that's all there is to it. We have the most generous immigration system in the world, and it's not asking too much for people to obey it. Thank you very much.
evening. My name is Brenda Rodriguez, and have been a resident of Walhalla for 25 plus years. I am a product of immigrants at one point, illegal immigrants, but now I am an educated educated woman with children that are Mexican American. And my topic is based on, I want to reference first on DEI. Just really quick. I know my time is running. Okay. My heart is heavy and bleeds for all the immigrants that live in the shadows because of fear. Though I do believe in law and order because I do have my associates and I am pursuing my bachelor's in criminal justice, I do believe that we do need to have law and order, security, in order for everyone to enjoy peace, in order for law enforcement to serve and protect. Yet, my heart is heavy and bleeds for all the immigrants that live in the shadows of fear. Though I do not condemn the actions of the illegal immigrants that have came here illegally, searching for life, for prosperity, for security for their families. On the contrary, I am grateful, thankful, and blessed for the gift that I was given by my parents that came here once illegal. Now my children are, my siblings are Mexican Americans, and that is a gift that they were able to give us, grant us by sacrifice, even sacrificing their lives. They became selfless. They became bold and courageous on their journey, not even knowing if they would make it alive. And I am grateful and thankful. Now I'm able to give back to this community that I have been a resident for more than 25 years, working in the state as a state employee. I am a bilingual. I am able to help people using LEPD, applying the civil rights, applying those in need, not concerning their skin color, but what their needs is. And to be able to make Walhalla amazing for giving the opportunity for more bilingual workers, more bilingual employees, more representatives, we have to offer that opportunity as well. It is inhumane for my children, for myself, to be targeted just because of my skin color. That is inhumane. You would not like that on your children. You would not like that on your siblings. My parents, they left their country because they were starving. So put yourself in your position. If your children were starving, what would you do? Would you sit there and starve? Or would you risk your life? Even if you would not be guaranteed to make it, would you sacrifice your life? However, whatever means it would take for your children to be fed and have a better future. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kim Jackson. I'm a military veteran and a former naval aviator, back when there weren't very many female aviators. I was fighting for women's rights before most of the people in this room were born, and DEI didn't exist. DEI may have started out with good intentions, but it has become something that is a tool with which to silence people of faith, or those of just a different opinion, and insist that they violate their consciences to affirm things that are against their beliefs or defy common sense. Notions that a man can become a woman, that he belongs in a locker room with young girls, or that boys and men should participate in women's sports. No one wants to dictate what others think or how they live their lives, but we expect the same courtesy in return. DEI erodes the hard-fought rights of women and girls. I want to thank the council for the courage to stand against this attack on women's and girls' rights, our personal liberties, and I hope you can keep from wasting another cent of our taxpayers' dollars on it. Thank you for your time.
Hi, Kathy Littleton, for the record.
As a former county employee, I'd like to say I don't think that any money has ever been spent, and I'd like for somebody to check, on DEI. And DEI doesn't cost anything. A couple of you work for Duke. I believe they have a robust DEI policy. I've done a favor and reached out to them because they do outreach, and they do lots of things for the community to see if they'll help. We've got, what, a couple hundred employees? Maybe they'll loan you their DEI policy, and maybe they'll loan you the DEI training. I'll let you know how they respond, because I think that'd be great for the community. I've looked at your website and your county council page that you have, Chairman Durham, and the things that you said. It's clear from some of the other former employees that DEI is needed, because all it asks is that you be mindful of others, respectful of others, other people and their differences. In the workplace, it's not even about hiring. And you know that because you work for Duke Energy. And like I said, they have a robust DEI policy. You get the training quarterly, I believe. As far as this using our tax dollars and our sheriff's deputies for ICE, the very idea that we could have our sheriff's deputies that we tell our children to trust and feel safe with go into schools and rip kids out like what we've seen in some other places in front of our kids, where they're supposed to be safe. School's supposed to be safe. Officers are supposed to be safe. It's unthinkable, man. It is unthinkable that our kids, where they're supposed to be safe in school, could be seeing kids taken away. How are they supposed to get over that? Forget what you think about immigration. Think about your children. Think about your children. What kind of damage are you going to do to them when their friends are being drug out by officers, and then they're never going to trust the police again? They're not going to trust their teachers. Think about what you're doing. Think about the long-term consequences, not just to the children that it's being done to, but everybody else. Think about the teachers that have to look at that. Those are their students. It's not just, you have to think outside the box, man. It's not just one thing. Everything touches everything else. So I'm just begging you, this is not a partisan thing. This is a people thing. This is a heart thing. But that's all I have to say. Just think about people. Think with your heart, not with politics.
Good evening. Thank you for letting us speak tonight. Okay. My name is Carla Poirier, and I am also a resident of Walhalla, and I've owned a home here for over 20 years. I'd like to comment on DEI, the ordinance to stop DEI initiatives. I respectfully request that this council vote no to act any further on the matter. The council has posted a statement in part, we must focus on policies that unite us, protect individual liberty, and ensure that everyone has equal opportunities to succeed based on their own merits. Well, unfortunately, history has shown us that people do not get hired or promoted based on merit. It's based on discrimination and inequality, requiring corrective laws and regulations to correct these injustices. Not everyone is given the opportunity on their merit because they are discriminated against because of their color, the religion they practice, or the sex or sexual preference, or their disabilities that they may have. Leaving it up to individuals, organizations, or corporations doesn't always happen, and unless we are educated on its importance or forced to, they will not do it on their own. For this council to move to stop providing DEI to all members of our community is disturbing and is a prime example of why it is important to have DEI laws, regulations, education, and training. I request that you not entertain this ordinance. It is not what this community wants or needs. DEI is about respect of all people. It's about equal access to everyone, not just a few select groups. DEI initiatives that provide equal access to our community, such as respect in the workplace, our community, for differences in ideas and cultures, diverse working places, city councils, congressional members, presidents, teachers, police officers, judges, lawyers, doctors, and so on. Diversity is important everywhere that we are. Having access to handicap parking lots and spots is an example of DEI. Handicap bathroom stalls, bathroom ramps, handles for letting people in and out of rooms. Door handles are important. Women holding same position as men, but getting equal pay. Access to sign language interpreters and signage for the blind. These are all examples of DEI. Thank you. Equal access to education, special needs students having access to schools, and having interpreters for deaf children. As of January 3rd, 2025, there are 151 Congress women out of 535 seats, or 28%. This is a far cry from representing the women of this country. Celebrating religion, holidays, culture, food, songs, and fashion, all about diversity. It's important that we learn from other people and how they live and what they believe in and practice. Treating others with respect regardless of differences, physical, disease, religion. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Carol Knupp.
Well, I'm just an old white woman. You're gonna have to give me a minute. Thank you very much for letting me come and speak with you tonight. I've never done this before. I've lived in Oconee. My name is Carol Knupp. I live in Seneca, and I've lived here for 5 years. I guess you could say I was an immigrant. I was immigrated from Alabama. I was born and raised in Alabama. I'm 77 years old. I've seen a lot of things in my day. I was in Birmingham, Alabama, when Bull Connor set the dogs and the water on the rioters. I was in Birmingham when the civil rights movement got moving and they went across the Pettus Bridge in Selma. I was in Birmingham on the Sunday morning the 16th Street Baptist Church was blown up and the little girls were killed. And why did all this happen? It happened because these people were not white. The same thing is happening today. We just call it a little bit different. But because their skin is not white like ours, they're different. We're using excuses like they're bringing in all kind of crime. And that's true. There's a lot of crime that is being brought in, a lot of drugs being brought in from Mexico, but it's not everybody. And I just happened to be curious to see about the arrest records recently in Oconee County for drugs. And I just want to share I would like to share some last names with you, see if they sound Hispanic to you. Withering, Reese, Youngblood, Bryson, Wilder, Dodd, Hunter. Does any of that sound Hispanic to you? Not me. When I was growing up, I grew up in the Methodist Church, and there's a little song that we used to sing, and I think it's just as appropriate today as it was when I was a child. I'm not going to sing it for you because I can't sing. Jesus loves the little children, all the children in the world, red and yellow, black and white. They are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Jesus died for all the children in the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight.
Not know how to say the first name, so I'm gonna try. Is Sui Martinez?
Hi. My name is Isui Martinez, and I've lived in Oconee my entire life. I'm 23 years old. I went to Walhalla High School, graduated there. I am a Mexican American. I'm proud. My parents always taught me good work ethics, values. Sorry, I'm nervous. I've never done this. My parents always taught me good work ethics, values, morals, and to give back to my community. Today I'm here to speak up for those who cannot and those who are afraid, so that they can have a chance to speak through my voice. I ask humbly to listen to our voice. I believe in equality, and as we are all human despite our ethnicity, we all contribute to Oconee County as a community regardless of where we are from in our immigration status. And I just hope that you reconsider what could happen. And that's all I wrote. So, thank you for your time.
It's actually Mita. It is a Uruguayan last name that I wear with pride. Thank you. My name is Audrey Mita. I'm here today to speak on behalf, I'll do away with the DEI as we only have 3 minutes. So I'm speaking on behalf for the whole Hispanic community, as well as anybody that's here to listen about this lovely Immigration Act, ICE. I have 2 children, and they are Mexican American. I didn't always go by Mita, I went by Hernandez for more than 10 years. That lovely Hernandez, as Jody Gollin had mentioned, allocating money to go to where it needs to be. I was abused. I went through DSS, and DSS passed that off to Oconee County Sheriff's Department. My abuse case did not get investigated. No. I found that out last year. So I think that money can go to where it needs to be. So ICE, I go back. I have 2 children. I have a 16-year-old boy who you can imagine does not favor me. He does in some forms, but he looks more Hispanic than anything else. He drives a truck now. He has a job. And in all cases, sometimes he tries to be like a Southerner. He wears Ariat boots. He loves to farm. He loves to fish, self-taught. However, having a conversation with him based on his looks, because that's what ICE does, that's what DEI does. It's a judgmental form. You look at somebody and you judge them. I'm sure you looked at me and you thought, hey, this woman's about to sit here and go pro-Trump. No, I'm not. Kamala Harris all the way. Conservative? No, thank you. No. So I'm over here. I'm a white woman. Yeah. And I don't view like white women view. So I had to have a conversation with my 16-year-old son. Hey, boy, you might get pulled over based on discriminatory actions. You might get pulled over. They might ask you questions. They might actually harass you because his name change hasn't happened yet. He hasn't been adopted yet. His name change hasn't gone from Hernandez to Mita, but it will. And you know what? Having that real conversation to my child, I birthed in Anderson County. He's been raised here. since first grade, went through Northside, went through Seneca Middle, now he's at Seneca High, where you know what, he's wrestling, he's trying out for the soccer team as of tonight. Having a conversation with my child that has every right to be here, but based on his looks, people in this community say he doesn't. So I want you guys to be implored to think, what if that were you? What if you were the white woman that had a child that you had to have that conversation with? ICE affects everyone. And I am a retired hairdresser of 20 years as of December. So imagine if that was your hairdresser that went through this kind of stuff. Imagine if it was anybody, any of your neighbors. Every single policy that goes through our government affects everybody that surrounds you. So just think about it. Use your hearts. Proverbs 4:23, guys, if you want to get biblical.
Robert Lee.
Thank you. I've been looking at this DEI issue for a long time in the city of Clemson, and I could tell you a lot about it, but I'd rather not take a lot of time and just maybe correspond by email. I can tell you a lot about what I found. But I was alarmed by some of the things I even heard tonight. I have no idea, looking at city council, of your diversity, your depth of knowledge, anything. I don't have that kind of, and it seems what I heard tonight was the very thing that is discriminatory in itself. It's looking at you and presuming you are something. So I definitely disagree with that. Some of the other, one of the city council people in Clemson seems to have the same divining power to look at a council, look at a board and say, it's not diverse. Purely on surface issues, not anything about character or depth. So I'm speaking again, I'm speaking in for this ordinance. I was really pleased to see that this has come up. And unfortunately, but necessary, I'm a veteran. I was on a Coast Guard ship in the North Atlantic, taking bearings on the compass out in the bridge wing. And I heard fire, 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 fire in the engine room. I had to stay on my job. And I had a trust in my shipmates to put out the fire, and I thought, well, do I abandon the ship? No, I got to stay here. And I trust them. They've had training. So I looked at that today now with this issue in Clemson over the years, that I'm really, really glad that we all were hired for our skill and our training, and that I could be relaxed and stay on my job and stay focused, knowing that my shipmates were not hired for their looks or anything else, and they were. We had every kind of description of human you can imagine on the ship, but we all were hired for our merit, for our character. So I'd like to not take too much more of your time. The Clemson is just really, I say, going off the rails, is my word, with the DEI. One of the things, there's an article in the newspaper, there's little time. Maryland City hires a racial equity leader, a DEI leader who incites violence, racial equity, officer under investigation, rants about burning it all down. This is up in Maryland City, and I think it was eventually relieved. So there's two sets of words I'm going to read you. One is that Maryland City, and one is Clemson's. And I'm going to ask if you can tell the difference. Okay, one is, these efforts should permeate local ordinances, infrastructure, improvements, marketing, and hiring, public events, and appointments to commissions and boards. Okay, the other city says, assemble a team tasked with implementing the agenda across all city departments affecting policies, practices, programs, and budgets, all ordinances, infrastructure, marketing, hiring, events, and appointments. So I'm not asking for an answer, but I'll forward this in email. I can't tell the difference looking at those if that was Clemson or the city in Maryland. So it says, and getting back to the ship analogy, to be inclusive, this is what this equity framework recommended to them. To be inclusive, the requirements section should be edited. The current language uses the word able to describe many functions that can be accomplished with proper support. So who determines the proper support? Who determines? And I asked, the reasonable question, is there a budget? Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Okay, we move on to council member comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Comment was there are 5 white old guys up here, but I believe you're young as you feel. I'm a young white guy.
Thank you. Any other comments? So I like to say something. I think there's some misunderstanding on the 287G program. Took some notes as folks was talking. But that program does not send Oconee County deputies out to the community to look and check people's immigration status. There's two forms of it, a warrant enforcement and a jail enforcement. Why they have two different names, I don't know, because they both are based on enforcement within the jail. Once somebody commits a crime and they're arrested and they're detained, at that point in time, this program would allow federal agents to come in and train a select few of officers in the Oconee County to investigate and determine immigration status, and then follow that proper paperwork, whatever that looks like. So it's not people going out and knocking doors and figuring out who you are. It gives them the authority within the detention center to investigate immigration status and then proceed with the process with federal agents. So I think that misconception went out there. I mean, it's criminals, right? And if you're against that, then you know, you're pro-crime. I mean, so it's not targeting people out here who's going to work, going to school, things of that matter. And also the cost, there's 3 counties in South Carolina that's doing it. York County, Lexington County, Horry County. Charleston County is not on that list. They say that they train the officers, also Mecklenburg County is also not on that list. Any other comments?
I think when you look at the fella what we had nearby.
We can't hear you. I'm sorry, we can't hear you with that.
I think when we look at what happened less than 100 miles from here in Athens, Georgia, with what happened to Lake and Riley, and then you look at the fellow that perpetrated that crime, and the fact that he had been arrested in New York multiple times, but then released, and then was able to come down to Athens, Georgia, and devastate that family. You know, of course, we all care about people, but there has to be law and order, and we cannot allow something like that to happen around here. And there needs to be, if someone is arrested for a crime, yes, we need to check their immigration status while they're here, because if they are a criminal, they do not need to be in this country.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It seems that we've got an education problem here, as you brought out. So
Ma'am, we're not gonna go out and back. It's not the way we go.
So
Mr.
it
Eric,
sounds like
please.
we got an education problem here. So. About this section. About the section we're talking about, it seems like we have not done a good job of describing what this is to the public. So I believe before we do any action on this, we need to publicize this through the radio, explain what this thing is, so there's no misconceptions, no false Facebook stuff. Put it in the paper, put it on our website, whatever media that we can get out there to explain to the public what this really is. Because I think there's lots of different ideas on what we're trying to do, and I think we need to educate on what we're trying to do before we act.
With all due respect, sir, one of the reasons
Ma'am,
we are here is.
ma'am, no ma'am,
I'm
sorry.
sorry, but I have to say.
No, ma'am,
because,
if you-
the comment that was on Facebook, it scared everybody. And it was done by your chairman. How can we trust that man?
Ma'am.
On what he said?
We have an orderly meeting, we need to run.
Resign, fired.
That's right.
Okay, any other comments?
Where's the freedom of speech? Yeah.
Any other comments? All right, moving on. We have public public hearing for the following ordinance. This is ordinance 2024-28, an ordinance amending chapter 10 of the Oconee County Code of Ordinances in certain limited regards, in particulars only affecting a limitation on certain emergency powers and designating the emergency management director as the primary point of contact for the county with other jurisdictional authorities and other matters related thereto. The speakers. All right, I hereby close public hearing for ordinance 2024-28. Okay, now we have third reading of the final ordinance, ordinance 2024-28. Previously read, I'm not going to reread. It's also on the screen up there and in front of you.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion second. Any discussion? Here or not, all in favor? All right, we have first reading on the following ordinance, ordinance 2025-05, an ordinance to prohibit the use of county funds for diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and to ensure fairness and equality under the law.
Make a motion.
Have a motion, Mr. Hart.
Second.
Second, Mr. Mize. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the last 6 years, I've been on council, and Ms. Brock has been the county administrator. We have hired based on qualifications and promoted based on merit, regardless of race or gender. I did this when I was in business. I want to make sure that we continue to do this. So I'll be voting yes.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Any other comments? So this is not some fringe, idea. Corporate America, I counted today that, I counted 20. I'm sure there's more, but 20 Fortune 500 companies, such as Target, McDonald's, Meta, Facebook, Ford, Boeing, all moving away from their DEI programs. We had a lot of talk about equal opportunity. We're all for equal opportunity. We have equal opportunity laws, which is captured in this ordinance, such as Civil Rights Act, American with Disabilities Act, and others. So in this country, we have strong equal opportunity laws, and some people came up and spoke to that. However, DEI, where the E stand for equity, that's not equality, there's a difference there. It's something different. DEI moves beyond protecting individuals from discrimination and instead seeks to engineer specific demographic outcomes. Unlike our anti-discrimination laws, which ensure a level playing field, DEI programs seek or attempt to manipulate outcomes in the name of equity, which again is not the same as equality. So to me, the reality is fairness should mean equal opportunity, not enforce equal results. The laws already guarantee fairness and merit-based treatment, and that's the standard we should uphold, rather than pushing ideological programs that divide us rather than unite us. And the ordinance here, under definition of DEI, prohibition, and it defines it, says for the purpose of this ordinance, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are defined as any program, training, policy, or activity that promotes differential treatment, preferences, or quotas based on race, color, ethnicity, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, or gender identification, and seeks to advance concepts of equity that promote equality of outcomes rather than, seeks equity of outcomes rather than equality of outcomes, encourages or requires political or social activism related to race, gender, or similar characteristics as a condition of employment contracting. So we all seek equal opportunity. As speakers have noted, we want equal opportunity, but we all have different skill sets. And we want equal opportunity, but merit-based promotion once you get in the job. You want to be able to perform and succeed. And that's what this ordinance seeks to do. And also, this is for county government as an organization. It's not for the community. It's not on other businesses. This is within county government. That's all. Any other discussion? Here or not, all in favor? Up next, we kind of hit on this in a comment session, so discussion on section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act and other related matters. So the Trump administration sent out a memo requesting local government support in enforcing immigration laws. And one of the key areas that is the 287G program, which gives training to and qualifies local officers once people are in custody to determine their immigration status. I know the Sheriff's Office already made contact with Homeland Security concerning this program. I don't know if y'all saw, but right before I walked in, WYFF sent out a story that Alan Wilson sent out a memo to all sheriffs and counties requesting that they also participate in this program. It's a way to take people who are arrested for committing crimes, check the immigration status, and then follow that process. I'm not trained on it. I don't know that process, what it looks like, but it's not going out into the community. I think we need to fully support this. I don't think we need, there's not an action item, it's a discussion. And I believe, there's gonna be more coming down on how local governments can assist. What discussion or questions do y'all have?
So, Mr. Chairman, I think we should take this matter up, like I said, after we can educate the public on what this really means. And you're saying also there seems to be some more guidelines coming down, so that might help everybody understand too. We have not done a good job so far, other than what you've said in this room, of educating the public on what we're trying to do. So I would not like to take any action, but defer action to another council meeting.
Okay. This is just discussion, so, any other thoughts or concerns?
I would tend to go along with John. I support the Sheriff's Department looking at this, and like you said, WYFF4 had just came out with an article recommended that other sheriff's departments join in with this. And like Chairman Durham said, this is not a program where they're going to go out and form a posse and go knocking on doors and looking for people. This is not what this is.
Can we put that in writing?
Yeah, exactly. It'll be.
Will it be in the county?
Will the council commit to that?
No, I advise not going out. So here's the, this is a federal law. It's an act, and it's laid out in the law how this guideline works. In order to do this, this is the way it works. It's a jail enforcement model. Once someone's arrested, they're in the jail, then trained officers can determine immigration status and then coordinate with the federal agencies.
So let me ask you this, just to be clear. So you're saying, just like Donald Trump is saying, it's only criminals that they are going to deport?
Listen, I will repeat, I'm not gonna go out the back. Per this 287G, it doesn't give authority to Oconee County Sheriff's deputies to go into the community and arrest people based on immigration. It's once an arrest is made. It's also not if you get pulled over for a speeding ticket. That doesn't justify checking immigration status. It's once an arrest is made for a crime.
It is a crime. Speeding is arrestable in South Carolina.
That's right.
Driving without a license.
We're moving to the next action item. Cancel consideration of acceptance of performance bond in lieu of completion Cascade Point subdivision. Is Jamie here?
I make a motion that we approve this.
You make a motion to approve.
Can I make a comment, please?
No, sir. We're moving on with the meeting.
Well, why are all of the people hiding now, if that's the way it is? Why are so many Mexicans, you can't find them now? Why are they hiding? If this is what you say is true. But that's all I'm moving on.
Okay.
So, tonight we have the performance bond for Cascade Point subdivision. Got a phase line in there that you guys have in your backup. They would like to bond the first 70 lots as a first phase. that allow them to start selling lots early before the infrastructure's all in. We just need a yes or no from y'all on whether to accept that bond or to let them put that infrastructure in first.
So, it's a bond that the county's taking out on behalf of this developer.
The developer is taking out the bond in the county's name, so the developer is required to pay for the bond. If they fail to complete the infrastructure, the county would call the bond and do the work.
Please. Okay,
That's the problem.
so I'm not big on giving special interest to large-scale developers. If it makes it easier for them to get financing, or whatever. I mean, I think the merit of their business process, projects to stand on its own. Am I flawed in that?
Well, Ms. Root, can you help us with what this bond is?
I can. So it's not uncommon for, during a development process, developers need to sell off the lots before they have fully finished out the infrastructure, et cetera. In order to sell off the lots, they need to get to essentially to the final plat portion to ensure, though, that they do all that's necessary to get them to the final plat. They submit a bond for 150%.
125.
I'm sorry, 125% of the amount of the cost as prepared by an engineer for what it's gonna be to get them to the final plat, to get it built out. So what they're doing is, so they can sell the lots, they're giving the county a surety, meaning, hey, we're gonna finish out the infrastructure completion, let us start selling the lots. If we don't finish it out, then you've got either a letter of credit or a surety bond that's gonna pay for it to be finished out. So it's not uncommon for the county to do it, it's done it in the past, it's not uncommon
So
around the state.
this protects the county.
It does, yes, sir. Now, of course, the other protection is you wait until they build out the infrastructure, so either way, the county is protected, but
So
that's the purpose of it.
either this approved where they can start selling lots sooner and building out the infrastructure as they go,
Correct. Yeah.
or this is not approved and they have to finish the infrastructure then
Right.
sell the lots.
But it's not our bond.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How far along are they with this construction?
They've got a lot of the grading done already. They've got some of the roads cut in. They've got some of the water completed. They've got the sewer probably over 90%.
I don't have any problem with it, but I do notice here that you got the wrong tax map number on it.
It's several tax map numbers, so.
Yeah, they are, but the one you gave was about a half of acre. It was 24 and it's actually 38.
Okay.
What, so if this project failed, who assumes responsibility for paying that bond back?
So it is on the developer. They would essentially go out of business. The surety company charges them. It's just like getting a loan.
Surety bond.
So the county would assume the responsibility, put in the infrastructure. We'd have to go through bid and procurement, and then we would finish it.
We'd get the benefit of the bond, do that.
Yes, the bond is in the county's name.
It's not dissimilar from an insurance policy that's gonna cover the completion of the project.
And that bond doesn't go against the county's debt ratio or nothing like that?
We're just essentially the beneficiary of the county.
So, you need a motion, I think you already, did you make a motion? Mr.
I'll
Taylor?
second it.
We got a second. Any further discussion? All right, here now, all in favor? We have no committee reports. Board and commission, appointments, we'll go with Building Codes Appeal Board. They're all at large, 5 at large seats. I don't know that we got 5 applicants. And 3, 4. I'd like to nominate, Joel Nathaniel Smith. All in favor? We don't have to second. All in favor? I'd like to nominate Tate Rochester. All in favor? Anybody have other nominations?
For the at-large seat on the conservation bank.
Hang on a second. We're still doing building codes appeal. Any other building, and we don't have to appoint them today, we can come back and fill it later. Okay, moving on to the Conservation Bank, go ahead.
All right, for the Conservation Bank, I'd like to appoint Alfred Della Costa for the at-large seat.
All in favor, Mr. Del Costa?
For District 5, I'd like to nominate Scuddy Walker.
All right, Mr. Walker, all in favor? For District 2, I'd like to nominate Mr. Perry Smith. All in favor? And you don't have a nominee yet for District 4. All right. Hearing none, I need a motion to enter executive. Oh, he did have ours.
Yeah.
I need a motion to enter executive session to receive legal advice and discuss potential contractual matters related to property development proposal.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
To exit need a motion to exit executive session?
Make a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No actions was taken in executive session. Need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion second, all in favor?